Hello and welcome. It's the Curious Pigeon here, and today we are taking a look at some aerial shots of Thorpe Park over the years. So I hope you enjoy. Now, this is a very early image before Thorpe Park, its lakes, or anything similar even existed in that area. So as you can see, we have Thorpe on the left here. Now, it says this is from 1945, as I will explain in a bit. I am taking some of these dates with a pinch of salt because they are definitely incorrect in at least one image that we will look at. It says 2003 down here, but as I'm sure you've probably already noticed, we have Colossus construction happening here. Now, Colossus didn't open until 2002, so I'm guessing that this image is about 2001. At the earliest, maybe 2000, but I'm going to guess 2001 with the groundwork here. I wanted to focus more on the roller coasters in this video because they make such a dramatic and drastic change to this park. Now, we know that this park is a lot smaller than Alton Towers, for example, but it is just wild what they've done here. It really is. But let's say this is 2001, we've got the dome, we've got the depth charge right here, we've got the beach, we've got the family golf, we've got tidal wave, mid wave, we've got the flying fish before it moved location. I believe this was the teacups. We've got Model World, which, if you're not familiar, was just a nice, calming gardens with an obelisk in the middle and scale models of different landmarks from around the world. This looks like it might have been a pyramid. This could have been the Colosseum. There was a Tower of London somewhere as well. So quite a nice, relaxing place to have a walk round. Certainly not thrilling, but thrills aren't for everyone. And you've got the rapids here in their yellow boat era, is how I'm going to word it. Now, this was Ranger Country, Ranger County around here. Now, this is where Nemesis Inferno is now. I believe there was some kind of Ranger's car ride type situation, but then there was also a sort of jungle riverboat cruise. We have Canada Creek down here and Loggers Leap. Now, of course, we know this is where Hyperia now lives. This is where Saw now lives. Colossus, of course. And you've got the ex No Way Out ride, which we know became Walking Dead the Ride. I think this is where Derren Brown's Ghost Train is, or the Ghost Train is now. But at this time, it was the sort of stunt show performance area, the sort of Ranger County performance area. Now, before Colossus was constructed, there did used to be Fort Ontario, which was a sort of wooden fort adventure playground area that was around about here. You have got Lake here, where the swarm is, and the island that's now here, as we'll see in a few images' time, I am curious about, but I'll talk more about that in a minute. And then you have this, which makes sense that was then developed into stealth because it's just nothingness, really, absolute nothingness. So I certainly do applaud them on the efforts that they've made with the roller coaster development, and in the space of, say, a little over 20 years, let's say 23 years, we had Colossus, Nemesis Inferno, Stealth, Saw, Swarm, and Hyperia. That's quite a lot of large rides in a short time frame, and not to mention other things. So some of the images that I am showing you, I am just going to skip through because some of them are terrible quality, but we can see, even though this is terrible, there was no stealth over here, but there was Nemesis Inferno. Now, according to Wikipedia, I hope it's right, it said it opened in 2003, which with Colossus opening over here, it does make sense, but it is impressive that they had Colossus and then fairly shortly after, Nemesis Inferno. But here we are. Now, according to Google Earth, like I said, I'm taking the dates with a pinch of salt. This says it's 2008. Now, this must have been after Stealth opened, because Stealth opened in 2006, and we have it here. We can see the flying fish moved at that point. No storm surge yet. We have Saw construction over here. So they constructed Saw, but then they also constructed the islands for the future development of the Swarm and whatever this is going to become. So I do think it's interesting that they sort of did both, or they did one and prepared for the other at the same time. So we've got 2010. Now, Saw opened in 2009. In the previous image, it wasn't housed, so they looks like they did the roller coaster first, and then they built the building on top. But we have Saw over here. Obviously, we've still got Log Asleep down here, logging away. And again, these have all been linked together at this point. Now, this is supposedly 2013 here. Now, we know that Swarm opened in 2012, so that makes sense. Again, really impressive looking ride and an incredible looking station as well. But then we have this. I can't wait to see what happens here, because there's no way they're leaving it like that. So 2015, it looks as though the Log Flume, I nearly called it the Flume, wrong park. It looks as though Log Asleep may have still been used. But in the better quality images here, this is a bit of a jump to 2017. But it does look a bit kind of dried up and dishevelled. Let's have a little zoom in on it, actually. Obviously, we will be focusing on this area more towards the end, because we're going to see Hyperia here in all its glory, but it does look a little bit done. It's done. I mean, it was quite a length. And again, it reminds me of the Flume at Alton Towers because it goes through the trees and everything. What is it with the UK getting rid of log flumes? Don't get rid of any more. Actually, before I zoom out, let's have a look. Is this looking any more dishevelled down here? Is it? Obviously, I've completely missed out on mentioning some more of this development, but, you know, this is quite a fair building as well to develop. Obviously, we know now it is just the ghost train, previously Derren Brown's ghost train. Definitely looking a bit overgrown here. I mean, you can barely see some of the trough. I'm going to zoom back out a bit so you can see the rest of the park. Again, we've got greenery growing around here. I don't know if that was intentional around the edges or whether that just let nature take its course, because it was definitely all just a flat man-made island before this. But it's also interesting that all this greenery has grown, but it looks like they're keeping this bit on purpose flat. You know, everything's been allowed to grow around here, but not this area. It's quite interesting. So let's stop moving my cursor all the way around the screen and let's go on a few more years. So this was supposedly 2020. There was definitely no water here. Now, bear in mind, this was also during lockdown, so that may also contribute to some of this looking a bit quiet and the water rides looking a bit dry. I mean, look at the rapids. We've got a load of boats just waiting here doing nothing, and the whole thing super, super dry. Not the clothing brand. 2021. I'm going to slightly focus over here a little bit more, because we know that this was the next major area of development. So we go from 2021 to 2022. We still have Canada Creek very much showing here, and the Loggers Leap. But here we have a complete skip. Now it looks like Hyperia is completely finished. It looks as though it was topped off at that point. So yeah, that whole area gone. Slammer still there. It looks as though work was still being undertaken at this point. I remember seeing a video of the ride getting topped off when it was being constructed, but it looks as though it's all there. Do correct me if I'm wrong. And then where is the bit of Loggers Leap that they kept in? I always forget where that's meant to be, but I do love the fact that they kept a bit of that in as a nice little Easter egg and a tribute to the area. But I hope that they keep that, and I hope the same way that I hope they keep the concrete left over from the Flume at Alton Towers. You know, people love seeing them little Easter eggs left over from past rides. They really do. Here we have the park with Luggers Leap, no coasters apart from this and this. And then if we go all the way to 2024, we have this, we have this, that moved. We have this, and that changed in there as well, and this, and loads more little things have been and gone in all the sort of small areas as well, and themings have changed. But yes, I will end it there. So thank you very much for watching. Do keep an eye out for more content from me, and I will see you next time.